I almost went with a different intro, and then I remembered, as we were just talking about before we started the show, it's Valentine's Day, and what could be a more fitting intro than a beautiful interpretive dance like that to kick off our Valentine's Day?
I know I've spent more money on that bastard than I have my own actual wife.
Oh, mercy.
I do also like using that video because there are a lot of people on the like insane, don't actually pay attention to anything in the world, like just need to be outraged by everything side of things. They're like, oh my God, why would he do something so gay like that? It's like, well, he was actually a comedian. Like he was a legitimate Ukrainian comedian for a long time before he became the president, and his presidential run was very surprising, and there's a lot of interesting background to that. Did you know that Zelensky was not actually the CIA pick for Ukrainian president? They were really, really worried about it at the time, as a matter of fact. That was why whenever Trump like made the phone call to Zelensky whenever he got elected in 2018, like they were really, really pissed off about it. Like they had, remember all the bullshit about like the recordings of his conversation and stuff, because they thought that Zelensky was going to be like a wild card, and that Trump was like trying to influence him, and that they weren't going to be able to continue to do their money laundering through Ukraine with him in, because he was not the American pick. It's very interesting to go back and read some of the history on Zelensky rise to presidency.
Yep. That place sure is crooked.
I knew I could get Dag's eyes to glaze over right out of the gate.
Are you saying that he wasn't qualified to be a public servant?
I mean, well, he played really qualified.
Well, he played the president on a TV show. That's qualification enough.
He did actually play president on so basically he and all those other guys, it's like the Ukrainian version of Saturday Night Live. And so they did like skits and like different comedy stuff. And I think he also did stand-up comedy as well. And so like it was, yeah, he played the president. There was a big thing about that in 2022 after he became, or after the Ukraine-Russia conflict kicked off, where people were like, oh, look, he was like a deep state plant. He was playing the president on TV before he, it's like, oh my God.
I hope that on their version of Saturday Night Live, they have like the opposite, like the evil, or the opposite version of, two wild and crazy guys. It's like two Americans, and it's like, we're two boring, serious men. It wouldn't be probably as funny as the other way around.
Well, they're Slavs. I'm sure there'd be a lot of chain smoking too.
Yeah. They never said where those guys were from, but that could have been that area, right? They sounded kind of Eastern European.
Very Eastern European-y.
Oh, fuck. I still haven't watched the Saturday Night Live documentary thing, but I need to.
I don't know that it's so much a documentary as it's just
it's a biopic.
Movie?
Yeah, a biopic.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
It's a movie retelling of how it happened.
I gotcha. That's cool. Yeah.
Stephanie even enjoyed it. Like, I normally can't get her to watch movies that I like. She usually thinks movies I like are stupid and doesn't. And we'll get like 15 minutes into it, and she's like, "Oh my God, this is ridiculous! Why are we watching this?" She actually watched the whole thing from beginning to end, laughed her ass off. It was good. So
that's cool.
And speaking of things that I've been able to watch with Stephanie, did y'all like watch ER much?
No, I've never seen it.
No.
Was that George Clooney, or was that General Hospital or some shit?
Yeah, no, that was Clooney way back in the day.
Yeah, Clooney was on the part of the like original cast, and it went like 15 seasons, and then a whole bunch of, like, everybody and their mom was on that show at some point. So there's a new show on HBO called The Pit, and it's It's like in the same vein as ER, and it even has Noah Wyle in it. It's really good. We've been watching it. It does some of the what people would perceive as like the woke stuff, but it does it well. It doesn't take the ridiculous progressive tilt on everything. Like you have characters on both sides of the argument on a lot of this different stuff that like they're actually it does a lot of the social commentary stuff really well and has like good dynamic between the two sides of the woke debate. It's been good. I've been enjoying it. And I don't usually like hospital drama type shows.
Except for Scrubs.
Yeah, Scrubs is it. That's not, outside of Scrubs, I've never really been a big fan. I did enjoy House, but House is like people have pointed out, House is not like a medical drama. It just has the medical side of it tied into it. There's a lot of other stuff going on with House.
I remember when House first came out, and I think I watched a couple episodes of it. He's just like some sort of cranky medical savant with a cane.
Yeah, he's basically Sherlock Holmes, but with with a more attitude. Like instead
the guy
of
from
British,
Law and Order: Criminal Intent.
instead of British, he's just an American dickhead.
Well, that's what's funny. So I remember that's actually what I remember about this show. Like, God, when did that come out? Like 2005 or some shit. And I remember it blew my fucking mind when I was working as a valet at the time, and I had to be there at 5 a.m. and I'd park like 2 cars before 7 a.m. So I'd read the newspaper every morning. I remember feeling really smart and pretentious because I read the newspaper every day at 19 years old. But anyhow, I read in there that he was British, and like he had like a dialect coach to speak American, and I was like, oh my God, that's like, and that was like the first, and now like I realize how many actors do that, or cross, even like I've seen Daniel Craig in like 2 roles as like a Southern dude recently.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I even knew that like people did that. And I was so like, wait, that guy's fucking British, he don't sound British to me.
What did you say Daniel Craig in? Cowboys and Aliens? That was a badass movie. Completely ridiculous,
No.
but it was badass. Like,
That
absolutely.
movie is probably one of my favorite movies. I love it.
Get off my earth.
Dumb in every way possible, but completely badass. Like, you should totally watch it.
Oh man, no, I've never seen it.
Don't expect
Harrison
a
Ford,
lot of,
right?
continuity of the plot.
Yeah, I think so.
Just
I
go
know
in
it's like
knowing
big people in
it's
it.
Cowboys and it's aliens and it's gonna be fucking wild and fun. That's like, if you can accept a movie that's just wild and fun, this is your movie.
And number 13 from House is in it at her peak hotness.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it is. That is a really good movie. I don't care what anybody says. It's fun.
And see that I felt that way about people really dumped on Sucker Punch that was made by Zack Snyder. Like if you watched the trailer for that and you thought you were getting like Gone with the Wind, you might be a moron. Like if you
like this is
what I saw Daniel Craig in recently. There was another one. I don't remember what the other one was, but there was something else where he was like Southern. But this is like it's got Edward Norton in it and shit. It's like it's kind of like a murder mystery.
Dak, have you ever seen Layer Cake?
I don't think so.
Do you like the Guy Ritchie like British gangster movies?
Probably not. I don't like British stuff.
Well, like Lock, Stock, Two Smoking, Girl Snatch.
Yeah, no, I have to try rewatching that stuff now that we use subtitles, to be honest, because I can never understand what the fuck they were saying in those movies.
Yeah,
I know they're supposed to be
Daniel
good
Craig's
movies. Okay.
Well, Daniel Craig's in one that's similar. It's not a Guy Ritchie movie, but like they're drug dealers in England. It's actually a pretty good movie. It's called Layer Cake.
Okay. It's funny that the name is similar to Glass Onion. There's layers. Get peeled back.
like an onion.
Yeah. It's like an onion, but sweet and desserty.
That's a parfait. Everybody likes parfait.
Or fight. Fuck yeah.
Or pot.
Have y'all not seen Shrek?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, at least somebody.
Dude, I was just thinking the other day that I want to go through and rewatch the Shrek movies because I haven't seen them in like, 20-something years. There's one of them, maybe Shrek 3 that we had on so in the car audio shops, to have like the video displays, you just always have like a DVD playing, and whatever it is just on repeat for like 3 years in your showroom, so it would typically be one of the Fast and Furious movies, or Ratatouille was one for a while. So I've never actually seen Ratatouille, but I've listened to the whole movie 8 million times in 3-minute segments. Same with Shrek 3. But I've never actually watched it. I've only actually watched the first Shrek. Which I was blown away at the time. I was stoned as fuck. I was like 16 watching Shrek. Like, these graphics are fucking amazing.
Which Shrek? Which one is it? Is it?
You just like the theme song.
Shrek 4, 6, is it 4? Where they, I'm thinking 4 is where they really lost the plot. Like what?
Is it 2 or 3 where they're interrogating Pinocchio and he's trying so hard not to lie so his nose will grow? So he's like using double negatives and everything. He's like, I cannot definitely not tell you where he's at.
I think that's 3. I think that's 3.
Okay, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the Muffin Man bit. Who lives on Drury Lane?
The Muffin Man. The Muffin Man.
Yeah, they're good. At least I enjoyed it at the time. But anyhow, it popped up on the Roku there, and I was like, "Oh, we should go through and watch those." Watched the first 2 Despicable Me's this last weekend while I was working in the kitchen. I'd never seen them.
With no kids has watched more kids movies than those of us who do have kids.
I'm just now watching the kids movies. I don't know what you're talking about. I've got a good friend of mine. He's got like 7 nephews, but he doesn't have any kids, but he's seen all the fucking kids movies.
Well, the fun thing about Shrek and Despicable Me and some of those is they do tie some good adult humor into it. Like, kids aren't going to pick up on it, but the adults will. So like, you'll laugh at, or like when I was watching with my kids, I would laugh at something and they'd be like, what? And they're like, that wasn't a joke for you. That was for me. And now,
Despicable Me. Yeah, there's a couple jokes I was like that I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, that was. I hope the kids wouldn't get that. That was dirty,
I wasn't there like a scene with the Pinocchio that was kind of like that, like in Shrek actually, like where like his nose grows on top of somebody or something like that. And then
now with my kids as they're teenagers and actually do get the jokes, then it makes it all the more funny because they're like, oh gosh, I missed that. Well, it was like, yes, you were 6, you were supposed to miss that.
Like that was the intent. Is like the parents just that's when you have good children's entertainment, is because there's like the subtle jokes that
well, and that was the thing that like they used to do that. They used to make good kids movies that had stuff for the adults in it too, because that's who's going to be taking the kids to the theaters. So if you're just slapping people around with boring kiddie bullshit, nobody wants to sit through that.
Well, dude, even Disney and Hanna-Barbera used to do that.
You're too stupid to do it alone. Deal with children, unlike Mr. Geppetto.
Oh no, I dropped my glasses. By the way, Pinocchio, there was a cookie missing from the jar. Did you take it by any chance?
Yes, Papa Geppetto. I'm sorry.
Are you sure you took it? Because I'd believe you if you said you didn't.
No, I took it, Papa. I wouldn't lie to you.
You could try. Who knows? You might get away with it.
Oh, shit. Oh, they have a reference for everything. Just anything we talk about, I can pull up a Family Guy clip. And
Stephanie had Family Guy playing the other night, and like she
not all of them are great, but there's some of them where it's, it's pretty, you get chuckle a little bit.
Stephanie had it on the other night, and when I went to bed and went to lay down, there was like the Justin episode where Peter finds out that his first name is actually Justin. He's Justin Peter Griffin, and then he like put on this whole Justin persona. I was pretty offended, honestly.
It's like riding dirt bikes or something.
No, he's just being a complete like douchebag. Like got him like a henna tat or like a tribal tattoo and all kinds of other stuff. And
they say the best comedy comes with the kernel of truth.
Yeah, well, told you. I think I told you guys. My like 80% of my, maybe even 90% of my wife's ex-boyfriends were named Justin.
Oh, well, sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of them. I didn't recognize her.
They were.
I didn't recognize her before we met that one time. So
It was a good handful of douchebags, in fairness, too. So
maybe like it's a difference in probably where you're from. Like if it's because like all the Justins that I know out here in BFE are like Justin Boots and are the like farmhand types. Like not a lot of douchebaggery. So
that's kind of like the Kyle meme. Like every Kyle I've known around here is pretty cool. Like but there's a lot of like I don't know, like other names that I'm just like, oh my god, like.
But we can all agree
Brandon.
that every dude named Lance is definitely gay.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Dude, what a brilliant segue.
You know, even Lance Reddick was, I think, honestly, in real life.
Oh, Bruce and Lance and Julia. Those used to be our toughest names, and the gays took them. I'd kill for gays named that again, though. I want good old-fashioned masculine gays, like the YMCA gays.
Like the ones that work at that steel mill that Homer took Bart to, those types.
Exactly. Yes. In the good old days. So apparently I haven't read this article yet, but what's up? Village People singer Victor Willis says YMCA isn't about gay sex, but there's a but apparently, but the butt's spelled with one T. So I guess we gotta. Says it can be taken for two ways, but that it's not necessarily code for gay sex. Let's see, Mark Garagos. That can't be the same Mark Garagos. Oh, okay. Podcast with Mark Garagos. Mark Garagos is like the lawyer who defended like fucking Michael Jackson and people like that. Okay, sorry, I had to work that out. That was fucking with me. Like Mark Garagos wasn't in Village People, was he? He was the lawyer character. Oh fuck. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is it about gay sex? Because
it's kind of like the later versions of the Three Stooges that weren't good enough. Instead of like the construction worker and the biker, they had like an accountant, a doctor, a lawyer.
Yeah. They had to get. It was the 80s. The yuppies had to get something.
That was just the Jewish version.
Read that part right there because that's interesting. Victor told Mark and Harvey something pretty shocking. He says only 10% of their fan base is gay, and he may lose them because the gay community is super pissed that the group performed at several Trump inauguration balls. I was like, YMCA, the Village People perform YMCA, have performed YMCA live at a lot of Trump events. Like,
they're like, didn't they even come out? They came out and they were like, they had to clarify because people like assumed it was just like a gay thing, and they were like, "Look, no, it has never been about being like exclusively like gay."
Well, like back in the day, like when they were like new, it was one of those things where like go to their concerts, and not that I've been, but like you go to their concerts, and like it was a kind of thing where there's like the gay crowd, but there's also like people who had no clue that there was that they were very popular amongst
they had wide mainstream success.
Yeah, people would like bring their families to their concerts and shit, children and stuff like that, and I think I've heard stories about people being appalled. I think I've heard stories of just everybody getting along. I think it just depends on who's telling the story, what angle they want to paint on it. But yeah, like I said, they were very very mainstreamly popular for a while there, even amongst the keys.
Yeah, but like you said, back then we had the more professional gays. We didn't have the ones now that were dressing up in like furry costumes, whipping their wieners out.
Well, yeah, there probably weren't people like protesting out front. Dude, I haven't been to any, not that I go to a lot of big events, but you can't go to any fucking big event without there being at least two groups of people outside either protesting each other or protesting some shit, like, I don't know, man. You go to a fucking concert or a fucking Comic-Con or fucking gun show, or you just go to stop in for a quick abortion or whatever, and there's got to be people outside picketing, fucking making the whole experience uncomfortable.
See, I haven't had that experience with any of the big events, or like I guess maybe I haven't went to like the concerts per se, but
it's gotta be a big event, you know.
Well, like I went to a
And
con,
in a city,
there
I
wasn't
guess.
like there was a con in Atlanta a couple weeks or last week, and there wasn't really anything there, but I do feel like there wasn't as much of a divide like in that because a lot of people were just there. They were like there either to buy stuff or sell stuff, you know, and that's kind of what that.
I think a lot of times people are just opportunistic. Like I remember I went to, and I think I've told the story, but I went to Gasparilla, which is the big pirate outdoor festival parade, Mardi Gras.
Did you wear a costume?
Here. No. But there was people there with sandwich board signs. I think this was before 2012. About the end of the world is coming kind of thing. And they had like their whole family and their kids like in the sandwich, had like this big party, and the poor kids, they looked so like embarrassed and like, God, I don't want to be here. And then I went to I went to like a Comic-Con thing years ago, and there was, I don't even know, there was like a pro-trans group, an anti-trans group, an abortion group, like all sorts of people out there protesting, like, you know.
And they were all paid to be there by the USAID.
Yeah, right. They were all paid to be there.
That's why you don't see it anymore, because there's nobody. They're not paying them to do both sides of the protest.
Well, it's funny because when Trey was mentioning his him, like, oh, the vibe shift has changed things. So, Justin's got his Gasparilla gear on.
Let's do this. I didn't know we were doing this, or I'd have put the vest on and everything.
I got my Mexican outfit on.
I can't see what you have on. Too small.
Nothing. It's just a do-rag with the pirate dreads on.
Yeah. They're white people dreads, though, not black people dreads. Right, pirate dreads.
Sorry, I was in a shop trying to get some breakfast before I go to the market here. So
he's not doing black hair.
Right. This is not appropriation. This is.
I want more cultural appropriation. We need more cultural appropriation in this world.
Get the fake dreads out, and all of a sudden, people start saying, having some questions.
Well, you know who's deciding to go back to being white? Pete Davidson is apparently getting his tattoos removed, which he's been doing since 2020. But I just heard about this. So he's look at
Why?
He's supposedly he's trying to be healthier, and it's part of a broader health glow up, which is also glow up is a word that I have previously had to learn what that means.
I don't understand what his whole stick was part of the like tattoos.
Yeah, well,
that's part of,
we all got to grow up sometime, man.
That was part of the appeal that he had with women, though. I think, like it's weird.
I don't understand how he had appeal with women. Period. What are you talking about?
I know. Look at those. Look at that face and lips, dude. It's so weird. He does look weird. I gotta say, because like, especially when I was younger,
apparently there's like there were just the rumors that he has a long schlong. I think that's
I have heard that as well. Yes. I have heard that as well. Like that shit's painful as fuck getting them taken off. So like I'm too. Look at
do they laser them off or what?
Yeah, they laser them off. He spent $200,000 already on the removal. That's
he's
crazy.
definitely going gay. He's going gay.
Right. It used to be the gays were getting the tattoos. Now the gays are getting the tattoos removed.
Yeah.
Like I'm just too lazy anyhow. I'd be if I had all those tattoos and got older and was like, that was dumb. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go through all the hassle of removing them. It just is what it is. So that's like the crazy thing to me. I do kind of get, as somebody who got was a retarded younger person and did a lot of stupid shit, and I'm kind of glad I didn't end up that I was too much of a broke loser to get half the tattoos I wanted to get. Because I'd have a lot of stupid shit on me right now. And it's crazy because my wife's like a great tattoo artist, but I can't get tattoos for medical reasons. And it doesn't bother me as much as it should. Like I should be more pissed off that I couldn't just be covered in great tattoos, like for free. But like, I'm like, whatever. I'm fucking 40.
Have a tattoo of a dick on your forehead.
That ship has sailed. We've passed that point in life.
Yeah, like when I was like
now
20 and getting tattoos, I was like,
my
yeah, I'm gonna get so
tattoos.
much kale with these bitchin' tats.
Say now Dag wears glasses and a collared shirt and like, looks all professional and shit.
It was chilly this morning. It might have been down to the 50s.
The kids make fun
It's
of
like
me.
12 degrees here.
The kids were making fun of me. Well, Stephanie too. I guess it was Wednesday. All I was doing Wednesday was dropping Katie off at her school, and then sitting in the truck and waiting for her to get out of school. Like I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't doing anything. I was just gonna sit there in downtown Evansville and get some lunch. But I had on a collared shirt and a fleece pullover and stuff. They're like, "Why are you all dressed up? Where are you going?" I was like, "Nowhere. Can I not just like look nice because I want to look nice?" Oh gosh, I told y'all about it in the chat, but this is the first time we've been on the show since then. So my afternoon was fucking wild. Just sitting in downtown. Usually, like there's a lot of homeless people down there and stuff, and that can be interesting. But Wednesday was exceptionally wild. So I went in this little. There's this little like dive bar there right across from Katie's school because it's in downtown Evansville. So there's the big Ford Center is there where the ice hockey team plays. They've got a theater where like they have bands and concerts and stuff. They also have another big theater where they have like big live performances of plays and shit. And then there's all kinds of other like random bullshit. So it's a typical like downtown Main Street type of a scene. So there's a little dive bar literally right across the street from Katie's school. So I go in there and have some lunch, and while I'm eating, there's this older lady in there cackling and losing her shit. And she is very clearly drunk as fuck. And the bar had only been open for like 15 minutes. So she must have like got there right as soon as it opened, sat down and just started pounding shots because she was gone. And
he just came there from a brunch.
Maybe so.
Drinking mimosas.
Morning mimosas.
Mm-hmm.
So I eat my lunch and I sit there and watch sports on all the TVs at the bar and stuff for a while. And I was probably there for about an hour and 20 minutes. And when I'm leaving, she's sitting at her table, like out of it. And I was like, oh man, she's going to have a rough afternoon. And I go out and I sit in my truck and, wait for Katie to get out of school. Well, about an hour later, this car pulls up and just like pulls up onto the driveway or onto the like sidewalk. And the incredibly drunk woman comes stumbling out, being held up by another older lady. And as they're walking to the Uber, like to the car, the car just takes off. Like the Uber driver saw the woman that they were about to stick in his car, and he was like, "Fuck this, I'm out." It just
I'm not cleaning up.
She wasn't a rapper from Detroit, was she?
Just zoom gone. So I was like, "Oh shit!" And then the woman who walked the drunk ass lady out just turns around and goes back in the bar. It's like, "Oh fuck, they're just gonna leave her out here in the cold," and then they wouldn't let her back in. And I was like, "Oh man!" And I was starting to feel bad for her because she's just like all over the place, falling all over herself, can barely stand up. At one point, she just stops and just like folds over in half, and almost like her head is almost on the ground. I was like, man, this is bad. I was like, I was about to get out of the truck and go check on her and be like, ma'am, do you need some help? And then as she's like just folded over in half, her head comes up and just everywhere, all over the sidewalk. I was like, oh god, never mind. That's all you. And so instead, like they have outdoor
problem now.
They have like outdoor patio seating and stuff. Instead of sitting in any of the chairs, she just goes and like collapses in the corner of the building on the ground. I was like, oh man, at least it's cold. Maybe she feels good, feels better sitting on the ground like that. Like 20 minutes later, an ambulance and 3 cop cars come rolling up, and they so the paramedics go and check on her, and they get her up, and then she's like flailing around, arguing with the police officers, and they ended up cuffing her.
Oh my god!
They ended up cuffing her and taking her away. It was an entertaining afternoon.
Yeah, but okay, so as a So she goes to the bar, they overserve her, and then they call the cops on her. That's kind of bullshit. Like,
I don't know if
It sounds like she was already loaded before she got there, though. Honestly,
I don't
Maybe,
know
I
if
don't know.
they
Maybe.
overserved her because I mean she was fucking shit faced plastered at 11:15 and the bar opened at 11. I feel like there had to have been some pre gaming
Maybe.
going on.
Maybe, I don't know. Third shifter, man. Third shifter's got to drink too.
Dude, that shit is mind blowing. I have a buddy who worked nights at a hospital, and he got a DUI, and I had to like give him a ride for a little while. And so I'd wake up and go pick him up from work and drive him home. And he'd like, hold on, hit the gas station here. And he'd grab himself a Four Loko, giant ass Four Loko. It's like, it's like 6:30 a.m. or some shit. And I'm just waking up and he crack pop, and I just smell that shit. I'm like, oh fuck, man, what's the matter with you? It was like an energy drink, with alcohol in it. I never had a Four Loko. That ain't my jam.
Oh
yeah.
There's...
This was
they
a
were
long time ago,
dangerous.
back when I think they're like illegal now or some shit.
Yeah.
But
Well, they changed the formula, like the recipe, but like, dude, you could get hammered and not even feel it because you're like so loaded on caffeine and sugar.
Yeah, that was it was a whole thing for a while. But yeah, man, it was just kind of a mind fuck just seeing somebody, hell yeah, 7 a.m. not even drunk yet or anything, you know what I mean? And I mean, yeah, an alcoholic, but not that kind of alcoholic, not waking up in the morning cracking a beer, Yeah.
Well,
there's something a little. So I've never worked nights. The whole thing seems.
I used to work in Dearborn. I used to work for Ford, and I was in Dearborn. And you would see the third shifters all come out, and they would all go to the bar.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the bar's open at like 6 a.m. because it's where all the third shifters go, and they go and have a couple drinks, and then they go home. But it was always so weird. It was like, dude, it's like 6 a.m. How are you drinking this early? But they've been up, they've been up all night. So
I think
5 o'clock somewhere.
There's one that in the little town where we first lived when I moved up here and where Sean goes to school. There's a little bar there that they used to. So the state of Indiana requires them to shut down for a certain amount of time. So they would stay open until like 2 or 3 a.m., shut down for like an hour, and then open back up at like 4 a.m. and then all the night shifters would start hitting it as they were coming in and stuff. And so when I would work nights, we go over there at 7 a.m. and because they serve beer around the clock. Like if they were open, they were serving beer, and go in and get a beer and order some breakfast food.
There's
bacon and eggs and a beer, man.
Or is it? Okay, here, let's see. So you reminded me of something weird. So in Milwaukee, I'm looking up the story now because I wasn't going to get it wrong. So basically, there's this restaurant in Milwaukee that they had 2 clocks on the wall, and it was something like here. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, I found an article. Of course, it's going to come up and say it's not at all what I was told it was, and it's actually something way stupider. But basically, they had 2 clocks on the wall. And what I was okay. So this is the most common theory, I guess, to why they have 2 clocks on the wall. And they're like a minute apart or something. So it says years ago, local law prohibited businesses from being open 24 hours a day. So George Webb announced that his restaurants were open 23 hours and 59 minutes and 59 seconds, 7 days a week. And so in order to avoid closing at all, the restaurants had 2 clocks installed 1 minute apart. So technically, the restaurant was closed for 1 minute per day on one clock, but open on the other. According to Jim Webb, though, the son of the founder, okay, here we go. Here's where I'm going to learn something. Said that the 2 clocks were actually an accident. The original restaurant was founded in 1948 and located downtown at the corner of Ogden and Van Buren Streets. George Webb customers would wait for a streetcar right outside and would have an interest in knowing what time it was not to miss the trolley. So he had several clocks on the wall for that reason. The clock showed different times representing places across the world, but that would confuse people who were waiting for the train. As the story goes, the streetcar rattled so much it would roll past the restaurant that most of the clocks eventually fell off the wall and 2 remained. And George never replaced the fallen clocks because he was a lazy drunk, but decided to put 2 clocks at each of his new restaurants he opened. Well, that sounds like extra work. We have 2 clocks in my office because we have a sister company in Germany. Oh, that's just a customer. That's just somebody. Anyhow, okay. Well, yep.
Great story. Thank you.
Yeah, much gayer. Here, I thought it was some cool like gray market way to beat the, beat City Hall and their stupid regulations because that's what someone told me. But
It's
it was just
a
poor
happy
decorating.
accident.
It was just somebody who didn't know how to anchor in nails to hang clocks on properly. It was a good restaurant though. It was kind of like breakfasty food. It wasn't anything special. It was like a little diner, but it was good. There's
a couple restaurants downtown that I've driven by a few times that I would like to go check out. Just since Katie goes to school down there, and like maybe grab her early for lunch one day and go to one of them and check it out sometime when we have time. There is do y'all have Zuki, like the Japanese hibachi restaurant?
So, I don't believe so.
So we've got a Japanese hibachi place called Zuki. They have 2 locations in town, but the one downtown is fucking insane. So like I went to use the bathroom, and you have to go down this like winding corridor at the back of the building, and then it comes into like the bathroom, but there's these weird like stalls and like there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on. I was like, the bathroom is fucking nuts back there. And so I picked Katie up early one day, or she got out at lunch one day, and Sean had a full day. So we went to eat before we went to pick him up. And I was like, the bathroom is fucking nuts. I was like, go check out the women's bathroom and see what it's like. Because the women's bathroom door is like on the left, and then you go back down this winding corridor to get to the men's bathroom at the back on the right. And so she goes, and apparently the women's bathroom is like downstairs. She's like, I open the door and you have to go downstairs. And then she was like, it's like a dungeon down there. I was like, what the fuck did this building used to be? It turns out the building at one time the building was a bank, and then it got converted into some sort of a like real bougie gym. And so it's got like an old vault and all kinds of other like bank type stuff, but also they converted other parts of it to be real bougie and like fancy for this gym that was there. And then Zuki just moved in and set up a restaurant. And so it's like the architecture inside this place is fucking wild. I was like, I've never been in a building like this with all this like craziness going on.
Keep their sushi secrets locked up in the bank vault.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But they do have the guy pointed it out. He was like, if you look back there, like they have a separate like seating area for like private parties and stuff. And he's like, if you look back there, he said, you can see the vault. Like the vault is back there in the back. And then, which was pretty cool. It was interesting. It was really cool that the server who was waiting on us, like he knew the whole history of the building and everything. It was pretty interesting. I like when people like really are committed to like they know the shit about the stuff. That was cool for him to like explain to us the history of the building.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know who else knows the shit about the stuff? RFK.
Did you have FUBU?
Oh fuck. I just thought this headline there. Vanny Harry is Food Babe, I guess. Who I don't actually know any of her content. I just know people always hate her or something. I just see things people, because something. Says he can make McDonald's healthier and help families with vax choice. I thought that was an interesting way that they put that on like, TMZ, because it's not like anti-vax or whatever.
Yeah, normally they would have. I would think TMZ would have like a slide of like, hey, the dumb anti-vax or whatever. Like,
yeah, that's one of the reasons I wanted to actually click on this and like, see if it see anything like negative. This is just like, so his goal is just to give parents options.
So it's probably one of those like search engine optimization things they added just so it'll pop up maybe.
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. These Wendy Williams pictures have been killing me.
Oh gosh!
Oh my gosh, Wendy.
She's been held in captivity in like a nursing home for like the past 3 years or some shit. Apparently,
who is that?
Wendy Williams. I don't know.
No
She
idea
was
who
like,
she is.
she had like a show, like a daytime TV show at one point. I don't know who she was before that.
You lost
Giant
her mind.
boobs. Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Supposedly she
Hold
was
on.
like a really big alcoholic and went crazy, and then nobody heard from her for a while. And I guess she's been like locked in like a conservatorship, or what do they call that? Where you're not allowed to take care of yourself. Like Britney Spears or whatever kind of thing. And I guess like whoever's in charge of her has just kept her locked in like a nursing home or something in the past 3 years. But I don't know how to say this without sounding like Roseanne Barr or racist or whatever. But she looks like she's from a certain movie. That's all I'm saying. I always thought she was like funny looking.
Oh, Boys in the
I
Hood?
mean, poor thing. I mean, I'm not hating on her. I don't know anything about her, but I do kind of want to watch that documentary though.
I mean, she does have kind of a strange, interesting look.
That makeup ain't helping. That lipstick ain't helping either.
She had to have had at least a couple nose jobs. Like she's got a little bit of the like Michael Jackson nose going on too.
Oh, I know who she is. I remember she. Yeah, I know who she is now.
I don't know what her original thing was or whatever, but she had like the Wendy Williams or the Wendy show or some shit that was, you know, when I go to the doctor or the laundromat, it'd be on the TV.
She looks like permanently cross-eyed too. That's one of the. She looks like permanently cross-eyed. Like,
well, she's got like blonde hair in most of her pictures. Like, how is that not considered a cultural appropriation? Like, black women can do this and it's totally fine, but if a white woman has dreads, then
I told you, as time goes on, Jay-Z gets blacker and Beyonce gets whiter.
What are they doing to each other?
Jay-Z definitely looks like Jay-Z definitely is becoming like a caricature of a rapper. Like
he looks like he should be like one of Cosby's kids with that hair.
oh god!
This is what Jay-Z would look like on Celebrity Deathmatch. Like the claymation, claymation Jay-Z is. This is what he looks like in real life now.
Oh fuck! I used to love that show so much.
We need a renaissance of Celebrity Deathmatch.
That and Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I don't care what everybody says. I love Space Ghost.
Yeah, man. When I was a kid and it was on, I was too young for it. I guess I didn't get it. And then I remember watching it as being a little bit older, and I was like, oh, and there's like the Brack show and shit. And it was, you know, kind of a similar thing. And I was like, I get it. It's, you know,
Space Ghost kind of kicked off the whole Adult Swim thing.
Oh yeah. Fuck. The last 2 seasons of Celebrity Deathmatch are on Paramount Plus. Now I know what me and Sean are going to be doing for the rest of the day.
Sit down, boy. You got some learning to do.
Hell yes.
And if you're going to go there, though, you do have to go a couple episodes of Space Ghost.
I would watch Space Ghost if I happened to be up and had nothing else going on in my life.
Yeah,
but if I was up at that time of the night, I was probably otherwise occupied.
Did any of you guys watch Sam Hyde's like short-lived show on Adult Swim? $1 Million Extreme World Peace.
No.
It's a really weird sketch comedy show, but it was pretty funny.
I've seen some of the skits from it. Like some of the skits.
Well, you saw the one, obviously. Jews rock. Dun, 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 dun. The little kids show.
Jews
I was hesitating to even bring this one up because, like, I really hate when like a celebrity or a comedian that I like, you know, or like a movie star, celebrity, whatever, like makes political commentary. Because I'm like, shut the fuck up and just be funny. You know what I mean? And don't make me
dribble the ball.
Shut up and dribble. Shut up and
dribble.
Yes, exactly.
Instead of shut up and act. Because
that's awesome.
Yeah. Bill Burr, I guess, went on some tirade about.
Oh my god!
Billionaires are rabid. That's why we're all poor, is because they hoard the wealth and shit. And I'm like, shut up and be funny. Damn it.
Bill Burr is allowing his wife to negatively impact his public persona, I believe.
He's been allowing that to go on for years. Is he the guy that was in he was in like a Star Wars series for a while, right?
Yeah.
DeLorean, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
He
Wendy
was
again.
he was kind of conservative until he married her, wasn't he? Like he went
I
way
don't
more
know.
liberal after he
I
married her.
mean, he had this typical like Southie Boston type of persona.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those, like people there, like they vote blue, but like if you just talk to them, you think they're conservative because
Yeah.
they're racist. So,
Well, isn't his wife like? Doesn't she like produce stuff in Hollywood? So like they're in that circle too. So I'm sure.
yeah,
Obviously that's got an influence over him.
well, he's been in enough bigger shows and movies at this point. He was in a Breaking Bad and shit. And then
Was he?
I mean, dude, I love F is for Family though. F is for Family is fucking hilarious. I fucking love
Wait,
that.
he was
show.
in Breaking Bad?
Yeah, he was one of Saul Goodman's like it was him and the big black dude. What's his name? But they were like his henchmen, I guess you call them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a few episodes, several, I don't know, half a dozen or so.
That was a phenomenal series.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched it years ago, and the wife watched it recently, and I caught bits and pieces, and it was just like, it's so tense. Like, I'm like, I can't watch stuff like that anymore. Like, you're just watching the little bits of it, like, oh.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
It was good,
show.
and Better Call Saul was good too. I really like that.
I tried to watch that one. I couldn't watch
some
it.
People,
some
people say Better Call Saul is better than, but I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, like Saul Goodman, great character. I was so glad he got a spinoff, and then I'm glad they brought Gus back into it because Gus was great. I love Gus Gustavo.
Gus,
he was awesome. That's like he's so gangster but so boring and professional at the same. Like it's fucking beautiful. But of course they're doing like these prequels to a show that ended like 10 years ago, and it's like so Gus is like old, but he's supposed to be younger, than the show, and you just use your imagination. Don't let it take you out of it. You know what I mean? But what's his face? Saul, the guy who plays him, is really good. He's in a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
I can't think of his name.
That's always my problem with prequels is if you, especially for something that's like long standing and has been established, like if you're going to go back and do a prequel, you have to really be careful and make sure that the characters fit, that everything kind of lines up. Like if you're going to go back and do it some like thousands of years in the past where that doesn't really matter and like everything could have changed from that point to when you get to the original story. Okay, cool. It's like what the fuck ever. And unless
like
it's
5 years prior,
unless it's the Rings of Power, in which case you better write it you better do it exactly the way J.R.R. Tolkien wrote it, you motherfuckers. But
there had to have been a genocide against all the black people in Middle Earth. I mean,
yes, that's what happened in those thousands or so years in between. They figured it out. They took care of the problem right then and there. We don't need to make a show about it, though.
Yeah,
there were brown people in the writings. They were just basically in Middle Earth's version of Africa in the Middle East. If you read his writings, because like Middle Earth's supposed to represent like Western Europe and England.
We don't go there. That's they're over there. But we don't really take the story there. We just acknowledge.
We're not going to import them. We're going to tell the ships to turn around.
Make Middle Earth great again.
Yes.
We thought it might be hot and stinky. We didn't want to go.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
And that's kind of the way that part of the map is described in Middle Earth. So yes, exactly. But that's my problem with a prequel is like if you're going to do a prequel, like you really have to plan out everything to fit with with what happened in the show. Otherwise you get like, I'm big on like the plot hole, like don't fuck this up, especially on something that's already exists. Like,
I think that's why Disney did a great job with Andor. It was a good prequel because there was no major backstory. It was just the fact that he blew up at the end. Like that was it.
Have you guys watched Wet Hot American Summer?
Yes, upon your recommendation, and the sequel prequel where
they intentionally
old.
they were playing younger versions, but they were like in their 40s at that point or something.
That's one of those exceptions to the rule because it was done deliberately for comedic effect. But yeah, like Solo, like the movie about Han Solo. It's like okay, but like it wasn't a bad movie, but also Like, why do I care? Like, we already know everything that we need to know about Han Solo and like where his journey goes. So any other character that's involved in this, unless they're also going to spin it off for all of those and create all of this other like stuff that happens with them that doesn't have any effect on the main continuity of the Star Wars story, like this is a pointless, useless movie. So
well, there's no new additional information like something like Better Call Saul. Like you don't know much about Saul Goodman. Like you just know that basically he's helping Walter cover up his dirty dealings or whatever.
He's the criminal lawyer.
Criminal lawyer, yeah.
No. You need a criminal lawyer.
The other thing they ham-fistedly do that they don't need to is like they over-explain or describe stuff that doesn't need. Like we don't need like a Joker origin story, or like in the Han Solo movie, for example, we don't need to know exactly where his name came from because there was that scene where he's like trying to leave the planet. And they're like, "What's your name?" Han. He's like, "You have a last name?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Oh, you're by yourself. We'll call you Han Solo."
It's like there's no reason to know that's.
Yeah, Han Solo was a cool name, and then you made it fucking gay. Like, why? We could well, as we start to wind down, and speaking of being gay, need to extend my Valentine's wishes to all of you. Roses are red. My friends call me Bob. Now put down the Cheetos, you fat fucking slob. I got one more for y'all.
See, I was thinking more like this one. My heart goes out to you.
My favorites. Let's see if I can find them. My favorites, besides all the Simpsons ones that I sent to Steve. Oh, here we go.
Choose you.
Yeah. Was this one?
I send that one to my wife every year. The I choose you.
Quit Stalin, be my Valentine, be mine. Of course, that one writes itself.
Trotsky, you're hot.
Leon Trotsky thinks you're Hotsky. You're the Kim Jong illest.
Oh, that's awesome. Send that to me.
Don't
That's
embargo
awesome.
my love. I just Google it. I don't know how I'd send this. You are the most honorable chairman of my heart. I'm in love with you. And finally, roses are red. So is the state. Let us be comrades because you are great.
There you go.
That's awesome.
This one is especially for Steve.
I can't see it. It's too small. Shit.
It's Marjorie
That's
Taylor
full
Greene.
screen.
It says, "Even the Jews can't control my love for you."
Oh, that's awesome. I need that one. Well, it's my 21st anniversary today.
You were one of those people that got married on Valentine's Day?
No, we got married
What
on.
a
We got married.
schmuck.
No.
What a schmuck.
Everybody celebrates my anniversary, not Valentine's Day. So screw you all.
Today's my wife's birthday, so I don't celebrate Valentine's Day. I just tell her I get her one birthday present.
See, like early on in the dating process, you're supposed to ask the chick what her birth date is, and then if it falls anywhere near a holiday, just say, "Nope, I'm out. That's too much." She's not going to allow you get away with one single present. It's got to be double presents, or it's got to be something that's like way over the top extravagant. There's no way.
Or you can double down like I do, and it's working out so far. She hasn't killed me in my sleep yet, but she is Asian, so there is always that chance.
Well, she just drive you somewhere. All she has to do is drive you anywhere. Then you're putting your life at risk.
That's why he hops behind the wheel immediately. Like he just immediately he's like, well, I just happen to sit here. Like,
excuse me, Jesus, I'll be taking the wheel.
Well,
Okay, gentlemen, I gotta
your
run
wife's
later.
Not Spanish.
See you, Steve.
Your wife's not Hispanic, so that would be even funnier if your wife was Hispanic. Sorry, Jesus.
Speaking of Hispanic, Dag, I had to get out of my car to get something out of the back, and I'm at a gas station. And tell me if this sounds familiar. If you hear it at a gas station, the doom 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 doom. That bass.
Yeah, or you can even just cut all of them down to just the bass line. Do 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 do. We get that one Saturday a month. That goes on to I don't know where. Somewhere within a 3-mile radius of me. I assume is how close it has to be. Yeah, and then it goes on till about 3 a.m. and then somebody cracks off like 30 rounds out of an AR. The music stops and the party's over. And I assume that's just the end bell. I mean, I assume that's just whoever's there is just telling everyone to go home. But pop, 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 pop. Music shuts off, and see you again in a month.
You don't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
Yep. It might depend on harvest season too. You know, when they're all down here. But yeah, yep. The baseline carries far.
When I was a kid, there was a boy that was probably about 2 or 3 miles away that would sit out on his. I played football with him, and he played guitar, and he would sit out on his porch and play his electric guitar. And if it was like a nice still night where there wasn't a lot of wind blowing or anything, and wasn't very humid, we could hear it all the way across the fucking swamp. Like he was seriously 2 or 3 miles away in trees and stuff. But if the weather was right and the conditions were right, you could stand outside and listen to him play guitar like way the fuck out. It was pretty cool.
It's crazy how far like sound travels like that. Like I'll hear like it's really quiet out here. So like I'll go outside tonight to walk the dog, and I'll hear people running over the reflector dots in the road, and the road's a mile and a half away, you know, but you can hear bump, 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 you know, like it's just, I don't know, man. It's nuts. When it's so quiet, everything's so loud.
I always was interested in like architecture with like acoustics involved in design. Like was it Grand Central Station in New York City, where like if you're in one corner you could like talk and somebody in the other corner can hear you. Like that is if there's not like a million people there.
Right. Yeah, like at the Children's Museum, they've got the thing you can talk into, and your buddy 100 yards away can hear you. It's like a like a satellite dish looking thing.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
You know, parabolics. Yeah.
Science, bitch.
Yeah.
Say back when we actually had good science, now all of our scientists and everything are just retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.